everyone and welcome to my Flosstube channel. So I'm Zoe, my pronouns are she, her, and this is Coco, and welcome to Coco Creates. So this is my channel all about sort of my stitching, got a little bit of knitting, a tiny bit of crochet, and yeah, I think that's it for today. But yeah, so Coco's all snuggled up. She's very sleepy today because she's been up all night, you know, keeping everyone else awake. So yes, so she's very tired and wants to go and curl up in the sun. So it is May now, so as you can see we've got some lovely sun. I've had to shut the majority of the blinds to try and keep the glare off of the camera, but you know, fingers crossed we'll be okay. Are you going to go down? Are you quite happy? Normally she wants to run away after about 5 seconds of my video, but no, she's very sleepy. But yeah, okay, I'm going to have to put you down. There you go. Oh, I got a little snort off her. She does like a little like snort whenever she's unhappy. Very cute. Anyway, so yeah, so that is what I'm going to start. So this is my sort of April recap. So what I did last month. Where should we start? So we'll start with my Whip Go. So this year I've been participating in Whip Go, which was started by Jessie over at Jessie Marie Does Stuff, and basically follows a bingo board, and you have all your squares on the bingo board. You pop your whips in, and then she draws 2 numbers every month, and that's what you work on. So I filled mine with my 3 full coverage projects that I wanted to be working on this year, and April's boxes that were drawn were 4 and 10, which was my Amazing Animal Kingdom piece and my bath time piece. So each square is 4,000 stitches to do, and that's what I did. I actually managed to exceed both of those a little bit this month. So I know last month, was it last month or the month before, when I did my my bath time piece, I was about 20 stitches short, but this month I went a bit over, so it kind of balances out. Now I've got pictures of all these pieces because the frames that I'm stitching on the squads, they're too heavy for me to lift up, so I have the pictures of this one, and we'll start with the Animal Kingdom piece. So this is a chart from Heaven and Earth Designs, and it is a supersized max colour version of Amy Stewart's Amazing Animal Kingdom bookshelf. And obviously here's where I started, so at the start of the month, and where I finished. So I put in 4,068 stitches into that, and we're almost finished the zebra. So I think the next stripe just has like a little bit of the zebra's shoulder in it. So yeah, very close to finishing. And also found another animal, like it's in a little hole in the shelf. So in the wood of the shelf, it's made a little hole. So it's like some sort of like chipmunk or mouse or some other creature, but I can't work out what it is. So it's far too pixelated on the actual stitching to work out, but even on like a photo that I have of the piece, I can't zoom in enough on my screen to work out what it is. So yeah, not entirely sure. I might have to sort of see if I can Google a list of all the creatures that are on it or something. But yeah, it's some sort of creature that burrows into wood and lives in a little hole in the wood. So there we go. So I worked on that one, and how I sort of schedule these into my stitching time is I average it out that I think, well, if I take 4 weeks out of the month and I do 2,000 stitches on each project each week, sorry, so on one project each week, that gets my 4,000 on both of them. So I worked on my Animal Kingdom sort of the 1st and 3rd week, and then my bath time the 2nd and 4th week of the month. So Monday morning, that's where I start with that. I get that one out and crack out to about 2,000-ish stitches, and then I get to work on my other stuff. So the other role for my Whip Go was bath time. So this is another Heaven and Earth Designs piece. This is a retired design from Selena Fennick. I think all of her designs have been retired now. She's pulled out. And yeah, bath time. So it's the mermaid in a bathtub. And so here's where I started. last month, so I just got down to where the bath was, and here's where my 4,000 stitches were. So I managed to finish that stripe and sort of start. I think I almost got the next stripe up to the bathtub done. I don't think I quite finished filling it in, but obviously next time that should be filled up. So what else did I get to work on? So after I've done my sort of 2,000 at the start of the week, I go on to some of my other goals, and my other two big goals I have are my Red Christmas, which I'm actually doing the green version, which is the Jardin Privé, and my greenhouse, which is the Greenhouse of Oddities from Lola Crow, which I'm doing as a SAL. So that is what I picked up next, and look, it's only taken me 5 years, but look how organised I am. I've got myself a board, a bit of mount board, and I've clipped all of my whips on so that I can just show you all of my whips without having to get them out of packets and fold them and stack them and all of that stuff. See, it's only taken me 5 years to get this far, like, we're getting there. So the first one I picked up was my Greenhouse of Oddities. Now, I actually picked this up twice this month, so I'm sort of taking part sort of in the sort of year-long SAL. So originally this came out as a SAL about several years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. Obviously I didn't do it then. So however, Jo over at Belushi Stitches and Emma at Emma Cross Stitching, I've sort of decided to do it again this year as the SAL and do each piece, you know, one piece each month, and hopefully have it finished by the end of the year. So I know Stitchman Darcy has jumped on that as well, and a couple of other people, and so did I. So I was a month behind. So this month I started with the sort of technically the March section. So the second planting, it would have been, because obviously the first piece was the border. So the second planting, which was the Rafflesia down here, and where are we going? So this plant here and this one. But then later on in the month I sort of still had stitching time left, and so I thought, well, I will do my catch-up month this time, and so the fourth section was the what do you call it, easel. I think you paint on the easel, the butterflies, and this lady who is Mary something. So I'm going to pop this down. I'm going to grab out my list to let you know what we've been working on. So I'll just pause here a sec. Okay, so brought up my description. Okay, so with the SALs that Lola Crow does, she does an information pack, sort of an index that goes along with all of the sort of creatures and people that are in her whips. Creatures and plants, that was the word I was thinking of. So this month we added the black bat flower, which is this one here. So apparently its wings, its wings, its petals look like wings from a bat, and then it has these long whiskers which can get over 2 feet long. And so that comes from Southeast Asia, is where it grows. And even though it looks like an orchid, it's not, it's a member of the yam family. So then we also have the Welwitcher, which is this one down here. So you've got the sort of flower in the middle, and then long sort of tendrils that come all the way along there. And that is from Angola. It's a living fossil, so it evolved at the same time as the dinosaurs, and they can live over 2,000 years each. And they grow out these sort of long leaves that can be 13 feet long. So it grows sort of just the two out of the sort of central sort of crown there. So, and then they sort of fray, because they're so old, they just get frayed apart as it lives by, you know, wind, rain, people standing on it. So there we go. And then the giant flower is the Rafflesia. So yeah, that's from Malaysia in Indonesia. It's also known as the stinking corpse lily because of how it smells. So yes, it does smell like rotting flesh. Let me get this black out of the way. There we go. So that's this giant flower here. So it can be up to 4 feet 4 feet wide. It's one of the largest flowers. Is it the largest flower, did it say? Yes, it's the world's largest flower, but it's also parasitic, so it doesn't actually have any leaves, so it can't, you know, like make sort of chlorophyll or anything like that, like leaves. So it sends out roots and vines and basically steals its energy from other plants, which is interesting. And this say isn't Mary, it's Maria. So it's Maria Sibylla Merian, who was born in 1647 and lived until 1717. And she was I believe she was the first woman to sort of observe life cycles, and the first person to describe the life cycles, metamorphosis and plant hosts of 186 European insects. So basically she sort of spent a lot of time studying them and how they grew, where they came from, because prior to sort of her studies on ecology, people just thought bugs and insects just like popped out of the ground, just like appeared out of mud or dust or various other grubby places like that. They thought it just spontaneously appeared, and it was her observations that were like, actually no, like they, you know, reproduce like every other animal on earth does. You know, they lay eggs or they lay young and grow, and they, in case of butterflies, they metamorphose from caterpillars into butterflies, like they don't just appear. So yes, so, and the butterflies that are in there are blue morphos butterflies from Central America. So yeah, so they don't have, so they're not blue, they don't have any pigment in their wings, but this blue colour is caused by sort of the reflective cells in the body, that they just reflect the light, and to us it makes it look blue from the way they reflect things. But yes, there's four of them in there, and then obviously she's here painting more of them. But yes, so there we go. So that's all the ones that were in these last two sections for people. But yeah, so there we go. And then next, so I've got the phone charging cable here as well, so I'm trying not to knock. But yes, so that was that. So how many stitches was that? So that I put in 1,653 stitches. So both of those sections were about 800 each. So I think that's about the average for all of the sections going forward. So I think it's quite manageable for a month. It was just this whole border that took, I think it was about 6,000 stitches for the border. So that was what took the time. But anyway, there we go. And this is on a piece of Megan Coffee Crafts fabric in 32 count that she's dyed. So it's sort of kind of, it's very stony, but it's got like a greenish pinkish hue to it as well. But yeah, so then my next sort of monthly piece is, oh, there we go, not get that stuck, is my Red Christmas. I'm doing the green version. So this is a Jardin Privé, and this is what it will look like when it's finished. Obviously, you know, in green. And it is a 6-page pattern. So I'm doing half a page per month for my 12 months. And this time I decided to move down onto the bottom page. So we've got 3 pages down, 2 across. And I did sort of this section from sort of the bottom of his legs down and across there. So I added in I finished in these little borders across here, finished all of these ones coming down, and then sort of started on this rest of this border. It's actually this outside border that seems to take most of the time in the stitching. It's kind of quite deceptively bulky, that, and then flower there. So, and that was pretty much the same as what I did in the greenhouse one. So that was 1,691 stitches in that. So at the minute we have section 1, section 2, number 3 and number 4. So next month I can choose to finish page 1 or page 3, or I can come over and start page 5, which will be over here. But yeah, so not sure what I'll pick this month. I'll have to have a look and see if what's on either of those, whether I want to go sort of across. I think we've got the start of the word Christmas appears on here, and we've got an angel, and then down here we have I believe Merry Christmas in Polish, so Volet Christmas, and some more of the bottom border. So yeah, have to decide which one I want to do. Yeah, so that was Red Christmas. So that meant that once I'd finished those, the rest of my month I could spend with my Wipopoly board, so I could get my Wipopoly board back out, which is what I did. So I did, have I put these in the order that I rolled them? Potentially. Let me move that book out of the way so I can see my list. Yes, I have. That's good. I thought I had, but you know, I always second guess myself as to how organised I actually was when I did this. But yes, see, there's so much cat hair on this one. Some fabrics seem to really almost like magnet, you know, like attract. That's the words. Seem to attract the cat hairs, and then other fabrics really don't. And I haven't worked out why, what the difference is. But anyway, this is Place du Marsh, which is a Michael Powell design. When I open a piece of paper, there we go, and it's a triptych. So I'm doing all 3 as the triptych, and I'm obviously starting up there in the top right hand corner. But yeah, it's gonna be quite a big piece. So I mean, this fabric, it takes up the majority of the fabric height wise, and this is folded in half, so it'll come out to here. So it's on a 28 count sort of even weave, just in like an off-white cream, and obviously I'll add in my before photo, and here it is afterwards. So I sort of carried on working. I think I'd sort of got to about here, and I basically just kind of with not in like a block by block, but I sort of, is it like the typewriter method it's called, I think, where I sort of took the first colour that was over here and then worked until I'd either finished the colour or finished the strand I had, and then went to the next colour and then worked across, and then the next one and the next one, and sort of came down in like 10 by 2, so almost like in the 10 by 20, the same way that you do the Royal Rose, so the 1 block across, 2 blocks down, so trying to fill in a 200 square, and then I sort of moved over onto the next one and down, and that was what I was planning on doing. So I believe the first sort of third of the triptych finishes here, but it's in 2 pages, so the page sort of cuts off just here, and this was what I was just filling in, was that 1 page there. But yes, there's lots of backstitch to add into a Michael Powell. It sort of brings out, you know, the actual chimney and all the features. Now, one mistake I realised I'd made on this, and it was actually probably about halfway through me working on this, that I sort of went to, it's not written on this one, but it's actually written on the cover sheet that came with this one. But whilst I was reading on the cover, it said, you know, 30 odd colours, 40 odd blends, with half stitches. I was like, with half stitches? I don't remember it coming with half stitches. And I had a look back on the key, and no, the keys were just the same symbol. I didn't specify either way. And then I read at the bottom of the key, there's like a little paragraph where it says about the French knots and the backstitch. And there's one little line in there that says, oh, the sky is all done in half stitches. I was like, oh, that's cool, because I completely missed that. And obviously this here, this is all sky. So I was like, I'm not sure how that's supposed to work. And then I picked up another colour. So I think this colour here, that's this chimney, this part is chimney, but this part is sky, but it's the same colour. So, but obviously until you only realise what's what when you look at the sort of picture, and you can sort of match it up, because then you can see with all the back stitch on, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. That's, you know, inside the back stitch and that's outside. So thought, right, I thought this is about, I mean, how many stitches did I put in to it? So I put 708 stitches in, which was just this little bit here. So I think I worked out this was about 3,000 or 4,000 stitches. And it was like, do I unpick all of this and start again with half stitching the sky? But then is it going to be easy for me to tell where the sky is? Or am I going to have sections like this where some of it's sky and some of it's not? So I carried on and I just finished my 700 and thought, no, it'll be fine. So I thought, well, it is just anchor, and anchor is still for sale. Like, I can still buy more anchors. So if I run out of the colours that I'm supposed to be using for the sky, I can just buy more. But yeah, but I'm not sure. Do I keep going and just have it completely as full coverage, or do I restart and have do the sky sort of half stitched? Because the sky is only this very bit at the top. It sort of ends about here. You know, you've got a couple of little colours that come down. Sort of, no, that's even, so this little purple line that just comes down a bit there, and then it comes down to about the orange there. So the sky is not that much, but I've done too much to just try and like unpick this area, sort of leaving what I've got. I mean, I've only got maybe about 700 stitches of not sky actually done. The rest of it is the sky. So I think it would be quicker for me just to straight up start again than try and unpick all of this, and then fix it with that. Because I mean, some bits like this section here I have done as, you know, all the way across and back. But then when it starts to get into the confetti where you're sort of merging the two colours, I have gone stitch by stitch. So it would be unpicking the whole lot to restitch. But yeah, so what do? Do I start again, or do I just carry on? But yeah, so yeah, I'll let you guys tell me whether you think it'll be okay, or whether it really does need to be a half stitch border or not. But anyway, that was my first roll on my Ripopoly. Now I normally go back and re-watch my rolls, so I can remember what I did, and I haven't done that with this one, so I can't remember what I rolled. So I can't remember exactly what I landed on. I know at one point I landed on a chance or a community chest, but I can't remember if that was here. So I'm going to sort of play the insert, and then you guys all know what I did, and I will just tell you what the outcome was and how much I stitched. So, because the next roll that I did, I ended up on Winter Sampler, which is my Cooler Design Studios piece. So it's a Janlin kit. And I did 615 stitches, so I must have rolled a 6 for this one. And here's the chart. So here's right, and this one was inspired for me by Brian over at Blitz Stitch. So I saw him do this, and thought it was very pretty. And then I saw it came up for sale in a sort of like an estate sale. So yeah, this came up as an estate sale that a lady had sort of passed away, and she had started it, but for whatever reason she'd only done, I think, about this much of the design, but also she started real close to, like, 2 stitches away from the actual edge of the fabric, on the kit Ada. And I thought, I can't carry on being that close. Like, I'm not going to be able to finish it because it's so close. So I picked up a piece of this is the Fabric Flare in Cloud Brown, which was, you know, a similar enough colour to the sort of beige Ada. So all of this background isn't filled in. So this was the original colour of the kit Ada. So kind of a ecru-y beige. So I picked this, which is close enough. And so my 615 stitches were refilling in this border up at the top. So if anyone remembers, I had started at the top and worked down, and then I'd come on to and done this this piece here, and then realised I'd forgotten to put this black line in, or dark brown line, which goes all the way across, and it meant that when I got to here, this was going to be sort of one stitch missing all the way across. And I thought, for ease of not having to rechart the entire middle of this, I was just going to unpick and restitch. So I'd unpicked it prior to putting it away. I always try and unpick a mistake before I put the project in timeout, if I'm putting it away or in timeout, because if it's a while before I pick it up again, I might forget that I was supposed to unpick something, and then I've got to find where that mistake was and then do all that again. Whereas if I've already unpicked the mistake, I know next time I pick it up I can just stitch. I don't have to kind of go through all of that unpicking again. So yeah, so it was just restitching that. Those snowflakes. So unpicking the restitching the snowflakes. But yes, so that was 615 stitches that I did with that one. And then my next Whip Properly roll the next week was onto my mini tea time. So this, I don't have the cover photo for this, so I'll add that in. This is the mini tea time sampler from Soda Stitch, and this is almost the first row. Now I do remember on this one because I changed my stitch numbers, so I believe when I rolled this is when I landed on the community chest or the chance card, and you'll see it as it's playing through. And I rolled that I managed to take 100 stitches off of my next roll. However, my next roll was only 4, so that meant that I only needed to do 300 stitches. However, once I got into this, I'd done my 300 stitches and I was so close to finishing the teacup that I just carried on to finish the teacup. And then I was like, well, now I might as well do this back stitch, and then this whole motif is finished. So I actually did 427 stitches. So I still did my roll of 4, even though I had my discount on, but I still carried on. And apart from this bit up here, which is obviously symmetrical there, any eagle-eyed ones of you will have noticed that I did unpick the word cake here. So you can sort of see it a bit, but I'm sure when I wash the edit, those tiny little holes, you won't notice. I think that said take. I think this one said teacup or something, and I looked back at the design and I thought, I don't think it really needs those words adding in. You know, I think everything was very obvious what it was. You know, you can tell this is a teacup, and you can tell this is a cake, and I think the other one was like a thing of jam, and it's literally a jar that says jam on it. I'm like, you can tell that's jam. I don't need to write jam underneath, you know, these things. So I thought, no, I'm going to skip out on those little words. I'm not going to put those in. So yeah, so I just unpicked that, but then sort of finished this bit off and finished the little swoop, sort of doily swoop that's on there as well. But yes, so still I'm knowing about whether just to pop that bit in there and call it a day and just finish it as a little one like that. But the more I look at sort of the other things that are in the afternoon tea set, you know, like the jam and the milk, I'm going to redo the tomatoes to be a thing of honey, so it's milk and honey, sort of jam and toast, the cookies, I do like the coffee machine, the coffee grinder. So I thought, well, you know, I do quite like having those on. So no, I'm going to carry on with this and sort of finish it, or at least do another row, you know. So at least that. So yeah, so this is still going to be a whip. But yeah, to pop back in. Then my next roll that I did, I rolled. I believe I landed on the travel square, so the little bus, and pulled the travel card, and it was advanced to the next corner. And this is the first time that I've actually landed on this square, sort of since I started playing, you know, Marble properly, like several years ago. So it's the first time I've ever landed on it, and this is the free parking square. Now, free parking, that means I get a free start. So, you know, a start that's guilt-free. I don't have to take any stitches or any finishes for it. I can just start something completely for free. Now, I was umming and ahhing about this because I had planned a new start for May, for this month, because it is my 5-year Flosstube anniversary this month. so I'd already scheduled in what I was going to start, and I was umming and ahhing that do I take that as my free start, or you know, and sort of not count those sort of 19,000 stitches that I was going to have to take off of my my allowance, or do I still have that as a start but have it as a paid for with my stitching allowance start, and then start something else as my free start. And I was sort of going back and forth, and then I thought, after a bit more thinking, I thought, you know what, I don't think I need another new start, like 2 straight away. I thought I've had a couple of new starts this year already. I've got another new start for next month. You know, that would be, so including my May start would be four new starts. But I don't need a 5th one. I don't, you know, I thought no, four is good. But I'm just going to stick with that one. So, which was quite nice, because it meant I already had my, even though I hadn't quite got my allowance to the 19,000 that I needed, it now meant that I didn't need to use that anyway. So, which was quite nice. So, you know, it was a nice gift from the We're Properly God. I didn't need to do that. So I rolled again for obviously my next project, because I wasn't going to have my new start until May. So I thought, well, I'll keep that for May. So what did I want to work on? So my next roll, I rolled a 10, and that landed me on my Seashell Treasures. This is a Gold Dimensions Petite. So this is this one here, and it's one of their gold petites, and this is hard work. This is it's very confetti heavy. There are large sections where there's no stitching at all, so it's hard to work out what you haven't stitched, because some of the gaps are supposed to be there and some of the gaps are not. So trying to keep going through what I haven't missed. I do also know that I could have photocopied the chart and literally highlighted and scribbled off what I have done. No, I did not photocopy the chart and do that. I could have done it, it would have made this job a lot easier, but you know, so, not yet. So I've got a bit of fluff on there. But I tried to work it, because it's quite a narrow chart. I tried to work it in sort of strips. So I worked along, you know, up to about, I think I'm about at the halfway mark. I think this here, that's the halfway mark. So I've got a little bit more to do up here, and then some more backstitch to put in. But this is where I am now. So there's a little bit more backstitch to do, I believe, sort of, you know, rounding this shell here. But the majority of the backstitch I've sort of been doing as I go along, and then I've parked all the next threads in the next square to do. Apart from this one, I think, which has a bit more backstitch to do down here, but I have to fill in a little bit more of the sort of shadow at the bottom here. So I actually think I have that little shell to do still. No, well, this side, this little shell to do, which goes just in here. So I'd completely forgotten about that one when I did all the rest. So yeah, still got that bit to do. But yeah, and this was hard work. I mean, this took, so where are we? 1, 2, 3 days to get in my 1,000 stitches. And part of that hard work was because it is on Ada, and it's on an 18 count Ada, and sometimes you're doing crosses with sort of three strands at a time, so it is very thick to try and get through on the Ada. But you know, we're getting there. We're almost at the halfway mark, so I think that's, you know, and I've obviously part of the border I've already taken up to here, so I've already got part of the background, not border, background I meant. I've already got part of the background a bit further. But yeah, and I think we sort of go along to about there, because I did centre it sort of on the chart. So yeah, probably about here. So yeah, so I'm about, you know, like I said, I've almost reached the halfway mark, so not too bad. But I think there's going to be maybe about another 2,000 or 3,000 stitches to put in this one. Looking at how much I did with just my 1,000, I don't even think I did 1,000. I did 999 stitches, and I was like, you know what, that's enough. I think I'd just finished with a colour in the section that I was doing and tailed off the colour and looked at my app and it was yeah, 999. So I was like, you know what, I'm not starting another colour. That is good enough. We're gonna call that. So yeah, but you know, we're getting there, baby steps. So that was all of my whips that I worked on this month. Now, I also had a finish this month, and part of that was because I thought, well, if I'm starting a new project and it's going to be a big project, like I want to get something finished. I haven't had any finishes really this year at all, apart from the one that was kind of a start and finish. That was the little twinkle, you know, little star. I thought I haven't actually finished any of my proper whips that I have on my list. Thought, what can I finish? So I thought, well, this is quite a small piece. So this is my Country Cottage Needleworks monthly village. And I can't remember if I took a photo where I started, but I think I'd only done sort of this one little house last month. So just the one on there. And I don't even believe I'd finished that completely at the end of last month. So I basically did all of the rest of the chart this month. This month, here we go. This is all finished. So this is on 40 count linen, over 2, used from Megan Coffee Crafts fabric, and using all the called for Country Cottage, Classic Colourworks threads. But yeah, so I'm using 1 strand full cross for all of those. So there we go. So the only change I made was Megan's also added in some little charms into the monthly sort of pack that she sends. And conveniently enough, on this count fabric, the little snowman charm she sent was the exact size of the snowman on the chart. So this one here had sort of two little snowmen standing next to each other. So I swapped out one of the snowmen for my little snowman with the top hat. So I mean, with his top hat on, he is taller than what the snowman would have been. But my snowman, sorry, the charted snowman wasn't wearing a hat. So I'm not bothered. So yeah, so we've got a little snowman with a top hat on. And then this one, she's got a little bow there. So, but yeah. So that is her finished. And it's quite small. I think it's sort of about 6 inches by 3 inches. Is about the size that it's finishing up on the 40 count, so over 2, so 20 count. But that's not too bad of a size. So how I'm thinking of finishing it is sort of backing this, mounting this sort of as it is onto a piece of mount board, and then mounting a coordinating piece of fabric behind it, so onto a bigger piece of mount board. And then I want to see if I can get a frame that will then fit, that I can put a couple of magnets in and then just stick this into the frame, and then each month I'll be able to swap it out for each one. I don't know if that makes sense as I've described it, if anyone can picture what I mean. But that's what I'm hoping to do. So rather than having all 12 of them sort of framed individually, I'm hoping to just have one frame and then just be able to sort of whack this into the frame. But obviously with it being quite small, it means I can get, you know, a sort of fabric border on. Instead of a mount that you would use in a frame, I'll have a fabric one that will coordinate. So probably blue check for this one, or a sort of wintry fabric. This one I'll have to go raid my stash. But that's the plan. But I thought I need to have a look and see what sort of frame I want it to fit in first, and then make sure I don't do it, you know, the mount too big, sort of thing. But yeah, so that is a finish. So obviously I know it's part of a series, but it, you know, I'm counting it as a sort of one piece is started, one piece is finished, and then obviously if I want to start the next month, so February, I will have to take that off of my stitchy allowance again, because it'll be a new start. So all in, so I think I did, was it just over 2,800, so 2,814 stitches in this month. But add that on to the few that I did last month, and it came out to about 350 all in. So 3,050. But yes, so that was, whoops, that was that piece, and I will just show off here because I have a couple of trying to decant everything without tipping it on the floor. I do have one crochet fully finished and a knitting fully finished that I'm going to put in here with my finishes. So it'll just be a minute for anyone that's not really bothered about my knitting and crochet. But this is the shawl that I showed you all last month. You know, that it was all kind of crinkled up and creased and sort of, but yeah. So this is how it's finished. This is my feather and fan sort of shawl that I made using a Hobbycraft. It was a shawlette sort of ball. I don't believe they do those anymore. They kind of cycle through their own brand ones that they do. But yeah, so this is it's a slightly sparkly. It does have sort of a streak of like a blue what's the word? You know, sparkle through it. But yeah, and it sort of goes from sort of blues through to greys, and then a very, very sort of pale pink, and then back again. But yeah, so that is that all finished and ready for gifting. That was knitting, and then my crochet finish finally is my lap blanket. You can see it's a lot bigger now that I've blocked it up. But yes, it's not nearly as see-through as it shows there. Obviously the sun is affecting us a little bit. Let's fold it up. But yeah, so this was my Christmas advent calendar piece that I did. But yes, with its border, and that is all done, all very, very plush. It's very nice and warm. This was a yak silk blend, so it's very soft, but also with the yak it's very warm. And yes, that is all fully finished. I don't think I've actually used it as a blanket yet. My mum did last night. She came and grabbed it because her legs were cold, so she was like, oh, I can use your lap blanket. So you know, I did tell her that she could make her own, but maybe one day. But yes, so that is, oh, just dropped it on the floor. My two other finishes, they're fully finished and obviously ready to be used. But yes, now my next piece is should we leave that? No, let's do this piece now. So I did mention about my May start. So let's see if I can decant some of this off and then show you that now. So where's my clip flip? Now this chart was gifted to me by a lovely lady at our Essex Needles retreats. So lovely Susan, she stitched this piece and then was like, oh, this looks a bit like your cat, and so gifted it to me because it looked like okay. So here is the chart. So the kits, it's a Lenate kit here, and obviously Susan, she stitched it with the kit, so it was just the chart and a few leftover threads that were in there. She gifted it to me, so I dug out my DMC colour card and was able to give or take match up the colours that were in the kit to a DMC equivalent. And that's what I did, and then I got Lindsay to kit them up with the raw broderie threads that she sells, and that is what I've been stitching with. So this the fabric that I picked out, so I had a good look through my stash, and I saw this piece, and this is Misty Lilac. So it's a even weave 36 count from Fabric Flair, and this is the piece of fabric here. Obviously I'll just be doing it on this side, and there is my start. So I've started at the top of the cat, top of Coco, there is, and I'm sort of just going to work down, and then the so this isn't quite as high as this, so this butterfly I'm going to have to sort of just plonk somewhere a little bit closer. I don't think it really matters. I'll probably end up putting it about there, but yeah, so I don't think it's going to matter where it goes. But yeah, there she is. And it was a bit of a mad rush last night because I wanted to make sure I got the eyes in, and then the nose was kind of I think I started on the nose and was like, well, I might as well finish the nose as well. So yeah, so I got just the eyes and the ears. There's a bit of back stitch on the ears just to give it some little tufts. But yes, so that is Coco. So that's the piece she's going to go on. But yeah, so really looking forward to having this piece done. I'm not sure how long this piece will take. I think that I did was 1,321 stitches. So it's a lot of stitching. I said in my estimate for my stitchy allowance, I'd guessed it to be about 19,000 stitches. But yeah, which is, you know, an amount of stitches. But yeah, so I am going to sort of keep this one out to hopefully manage to put some sort of work into it each month. But I don't know obviously how much I'll manage to get done. But I do want to try and do a bit of this each month, just to work down. But yes, one thing I've noticed with the Lynart charts, they aren't sort of marked into their 10 by 10 blocks like other charts are. They're marked into like 5 by 5s, which was a bit confusing to start with, because the first time I just counted the thicker lines, went all the way across and was like, oh, this chart's going to be massive, it's got like 500 stitches big. And then no, it wasn't. When I actually looked at the chart, I was like, oh no, that's only 5 stitches. So yeah, it's taking a little bit getting used to as I work. Like if I'm counting across, I can't just count the big lines. I'm having to remember that that's only 5 and not 10. So it's taking a little bit of brain power just to get through. But I don't know if all of the Lynart kits are like that, or just the big ones. I don't know. But yes, so but that's my new start that I started yesterday. So yeah, so not including that one because that is in May. So my April stitching, I did 17,150 stitches, which I believe, was it the most I'd done? Oh no, so in January I'd done 17,900. So it's the most I've done since January, which was quite nice. And I did actually stitch every single day. Every single day I did some stitching. Yes, I was apart from this one, but that's a blank square. That's not a day. So yeah, but yes. So that was the first. I think that's the first time since January. Oh no, even in January I didn't even stitch every day. So that's the first month of the year that I've actually stitched every single day, which was, you know, quite nice to do. Make sure I get some stitching in. But yes, so that is everything for my whips. Now I also got some happy mail. So this arrived about 2 hours after I finished editing and uploading my last video. So but this was from the lovely Alison. Now obviously I've not asked it, so I'm not going to share her full name or anything on here, but when I was at the Essex Needles retreat, I was kitting up the fancy threads for the Fabulous House series, and there was one of the threads, one of the skeins that was completely missing. She didn't have any, and I wasn't able to order it at the time either, because I had a look, I think, on like 123 Stitch and a couple of others, and I know Claire that was there as well, she said she'd had a lot of trouble getting this thread. So I was like, okay, well I'll just wait and find it at some point. And Alison came over, she said, oh, I heard you need that thread. She's like, well, I have that skein, I have about half of that skein left, if you want that. And I was like, you know, I was like, are you sure, sort of thing, like how much do you want? She's like, no, I'll just send it to you. So yeah, so she sent it to me. She sent me a lovely little card, and sent me this one, which is Garden Gate. So this is the thread that goes with the Tudor house, which was the bonus house, I believe, that came with the out the sets. It was like the 13th house. I can't remember why she did a bonus house, but you know, she did, and it was the Tudor house. So yeah, but yeah, so that should be a good one. I might have to start with the Tudor house, since it was the bonus one. But I think because the Tudor house also has a couple of little animals in, which is very cute. So I might have to Bagsy that one, because I'm going to be stitching them sort of with my mum. So she'll be stitching some and I'll be stitching the others. So I thought I'm going to have to Bagsy the favourite ones, the ones that I want to stitch, so that she doesn't get to stitch them first. So, but yes, so lovely little card from Alison, which I'm really grateful for. Thank you very much. But yes, what else have I got? I've got, someone's been chewing on my notebook. I just felt like on the back I could feel the bite marks. So 3 guesses as to who that was. Right, so I have a couple of shout outs to do this month. So a couple of these are, actually I think all of these have been on Flosstube for a little while, you know, at least a year I think, so if not sort of a couple, you know, more than a couple of years, but they're just sort of one that was new to me, so one that was a new person to me, one that has started a new series that I want to share, and then one that is doing something for May. So my 3 shout outs this month. So first one is Adelaide, who her channel is Adelaide Stitches. So and she has recently, so she was my new to me Flosstuber this month, and she is doing I don't know what she calls it, but it's like a designer a day or something is how she's going through, but it's almost like a designer parade where she's going through the designers that she has projects or whips or finishes from, and all the charts and projects and, you know, whips that she has for that designer. So she's done some of her full coverage ones and some fancy ladies, and I believe, what's the one she just put her I don't know, was it her day 18 or something? It's on my list to watch, and I saw that and I thought, oh yes, I need to remember to shout her out for watching that. She's but she's going through all different designers for each one, so it's definitely something you should go and watch and see, because sometimes we'll sometimes see certain things from a design, like an odd design, and it might not be to our tastes, but then you look at some of the other designs they're doing, and actually some, you know, some of them are very different, so you can sort of get, you know, quite different vibes from all the different designers there. And it is nice to have someone showing them off, because it's sometimes when you're just flicking through the pictures online or anything on the charts that you can't always get a feel of how they look when they're finished and what they look like. So yeah, it's always nice to have someone that can flick through and show you what they've already done from them, which is fun. Now, oh gosh, I didn't write down, it's not Mika, who is it? I think it begins with B, but I can't remember her name. But it's her channel is a Dutch stitcher, and yeah, she's just started a new sort of like podcast series that she's calling a Stitchy Chat, where she sort of does like a twin screen with another Flosstuber, and they basically just have a Stitchy Chat. So it's, I mean, I would say it's a bit like an interview, but it's not like not an interview, a chat. Obviously, they're asking each other questions, and you're getting to know more about basically other Flosstubers. So she's done 2 so far in the series. So the first one she did was with Sarah from Sew Me Sarah, and the second podcast she did was with Kim at the Contented Needleworker Kim. But yes, I'm not sure who she's going to have on next, but I am waiting for the third instalment to see who pops up next. But yeah, so again, really, I know a little while ago, oh gosh, someone else was doing like a similar themed sort of series with other Flosstubers, and oh gosh, I can't remember what her name is. I think her channel began with an S, but I'm like completely blanking because I didn't write that down at the time because it wasn't what I thought of. But oh gosh, some of you will know what it is. If you know what it is, drop it below. I'm sure we can find it. It's fine. But also, then my third shout out for this month is for Stephanie. So her channel is Cross Stitch the Globe. She does with, is it her sister or her friend? I can't tell. Sometimes they look like sisters, but I can't tell whether they're just good friends or sisters. But they do it together. So Stephanie and Alison. But Stephanie is taking part in Mirror May. So for May, she's going to be working on Mirabilias. But she has started it off with a Mirabilia whip parade. So go and check that out and go and have a look at all the fancy ladies she's got. But yes, so they're my sort of three shout outs for this month. Plans for May, because I'm very concerned we're getting to like an hour and like I've still got stuff to talk about. So I think we're definitely going to be splitting this into two videos. So my May plans. So Jessie Marie has rolled for Whip Go. So this coming month we've got box number 5 and box number 19. So again, no bingos yet, but not far off. So for May we've got the Amazing Animal Kingdom again, and then my 3 baby dragons that I'll be picking up. So they're the 2 boxes for this coming month. So I'm also on holiday this month for a few days. We're going away with family. So I've got to decide which project to take. So I thought, do I take my baby dragons because it's my Whip Go? Or, you know, do I take something a bit easier to work on, like my Christmas piece, because it only has like 4 colours. So yeah, so it's like, how do I decide what to take? And like, am I going for, say, like 4 days? So, and one of those is going to be travelling. So yeah, like how many projects should I take for 4 days? So yeah, so I'm thinking of taking one of those 2, maybe both of them. I'm not sure. Can I get away with just 2 whips? I'll have to see. But yes, I'm going to sort of Woburn Forest down there. So lots of animals. I think I'm going to pop over to the safari park that one day that week as well. So hopefully I'll get some sort of footage and some pictures to pop in of all the animals. But yes, this week I'm also going to give blood. So if you're able to, go give blood. Obviously everywhere. I know England is always short of donors, but I'm pretty sure most countries are. So if you're able to, please go and give blood. But yes, and like I said, I'm going to split it up. So I was going to go into my 5-year celebration video as well. But I think I've been sat here quite long enough, so I think I'm definitely going to split this up. So my next video that I'm going to be filming this week will be my 5-year Flosstube anniversary. So I'm going to have a mini whip parade where I'm going to look at whips that I had 5 years ago, my very first whip parade, and obviously have I finished them, have I not, how much progress have I had, things like that. So there's also going to be some giveaways for my 5th birthday, and sort of plans for the next 5 years. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So you'll have to come back and watch that one later. And but yeah, so that is it for today, I believe. So I'm going to go get a cup of tea, maybe some lunch, and I will see you all very soon. So thank you all for watching, if indeed you still are, and I'll see you soon. So I love you lots.